608.
I have 608. Yep. Also, and this is the January 15th, 2025 edition of the Shutesbury Cemetery Commissioners meeting, starting at 6:08 p.m. All right. On the agenda, review and approve the minutes of the December 18th meeting. I looked at those myself, and I think everything was real good except for under, I guess it was 4D, the fee structure.
Yeah, that's
When
why I
you're
put it all in red because I wasn't
right.
sure I had it right.
Yeah, and is this correct? Is it following all correct? And I think you got it close, but it is a little bit off.
Okay.
So it said, yeah, I did meet with the town accountant about the best ways to handle this. Um, the custom was to charge a flat fee of $100, but it wasn't collected for the town, and it went into a revolving fund because we just got that revolving fund set up at the last town, or approved at the last town meeting.
Okay.
Before, it just went to whoever was doing the work. Usually it was me. So it was a check written directly to me. So we wanted to change that to run it through the town like it should have been done. So I used to just collect the fee payable to me. So it now goes into a revolving fund. Payable to the town of Shutesbury goes into the revolving fund. And from that revolving fund, the person, whoever does the work, be it me, be it Carl, be it somebody else, they get that fee, the $100 minus taxes and everything else, because it's being paid as a, through the town. So they do take out whatever taxes are supposed to be taken out, and then the balance gets paid to the person that does the work.
Okay.
That's how the revolving fund works. If we were to charge more, say we charge, just for sake of saying it, $150, the hundred of that would go towards the person. $50 would stay in the revolving account for us to use, but for us to take that money out of the revolving account and put it into, say, the expendable trust fund, that would have to be done by a town vote to move that, a town meeting.
Wow.
That's how that works.
Wow. That's a lot.
Otherwise it stays in the fund, the revolving fund, for our use, but it would, once it built up enough, we don't want to do that all the time for if there's only $50 or something like that in there. But if it starts to get to be a significant amount of money, then we can have it voted on at town meeting to take that balance that's left in the revolving fund and put it into the expendable trust fund.
Okay.
So we still get to use it, but it's more accounted for, a few more steps to be able to
Yeah.
use it.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think I didn't see anything that didn't sound right in the minutes. Dina, did you get a chance to look through
Didn't catch anything either. I read through that bit. I find it confusing, so.
them? Yeah,
Okay.
it's just, it's how things have to work there. So, we collect the money, it goes to the revolving fund. The person did the work, it's paid out of the revolving fund.
Right,
And if we're not increasing our fees, well, then after you've collected and paid the person, the fund should be at zero again. So
gotcha,
it's just a way for the town to account for that money and take money in and then expend it.
gotcha.
Thanks, Walter. I think I've got that clear, and I'll go in minutes and make those changes.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else that anybody had questions on or that?
Not from last month, no.
Okay, so make a motion that we accept the minutes as amended. this meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay, any further discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll do the roll call vote. Dina,
Aye.
Susan,
Hi,
and I vote aye also. Very good.
thank you all.
You're welcome.
Thanks
All
for
right.
Yeah, and thanks for
Under,
looking at that, Walter, and getting it straight for me.
oh, you're welcome. That's no problem. I would have, if I'd have read them and thought about it, I would have gotten, a better explanation. If I figured it's easy enough to do it here, that way everybody understands the explanation.
Yeah.
And if we're amending minutes, we should be doing it at the meeting anyway, so. Okay, number 2 on the agenda, new burials, lot sales, and monument installations. There has not been anything, this time of year, things are pretty slow. Although I did get a call from a gentleman. His first name was Nico, and this is something for you guys to know because he's looking to get a lot for I believe his parents or grandparents that they live in Shutesbury. They are supposedly residents of Shutesbury. I have to check out once I get the name. And I got the name. It's Glenn Spolman or Spolman.
Could you spell that for me?
Yeah, I think it's spelled Spulmann.
Okay,
First name of Glenn, Glenn.
gotcha,
Um,
gotcha.
yeah, so, and they're looking to get what might I'm not even sure if they were talking possibly natural burial, green burial section, or just traditional. So he wasn't sure. He was going to call, probably figured later on in February. And as I'll discuss later on in number 7, I'm going to be on vacation part of February. So in case he calls back, I would give him, one of your names and, have him work it out with you guys for the actual paperwork and all that. So,
Okay.
so I want to
I have,
discuss that, what we're going to do.
well, we're going to discuss it later because I
Yeah.
have a feeling that with the two of us might want to do things together jointly.
Yep. And that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the only thing under that section. So nothing really too much.
So just quick question.
Sure.
Was the name of the guy that called Glenn Spoolman, or is he calling about a relative who's Glenn Spoolman?
He was good. The guy who called me was Nico, Nico.
Okay.
That's going to be his name, and he's calling about relatives that live in Shutesbury.
Okay. And
The relative was the Glenn Spulman.
Gotcha.
Thanks
And
for
he right now he only has my number, so if he calls before I leave, I'll be able to deal with it. If not, I will then give him one of your numbers, and we'll go from there. I don't.
Gotcha.
As we talk about, I'll down number 7. We'll get you the maps and the forms and all that stuff, and even the hard drive here, the external hard drive, so you can have all the forms electronically and be able to do it that way too.
Okay, we'll really have our baptism of fire.
Sure. And you can always, well, we'll discuss it
You
later.
can always say, well, why don't we just wait until Walter gets back?
Or, I'm always available by phone, so.
We need to be able to do it, right, Dana?
We do.
Right. It's good to learn how. Yep.
It is.
Okay. Let's see. So we'll discuss the finer details down below, just to keep with the agenda here,
Okay.
in case somebody wants to jump in on a certain thing. So be a guest, but normally we don't get that. All right, so update on ground penetrating radar and mapping project. Yeah, I've been in contact with Thomas. He sent, started a little bit of work to see if that's what we really want. He sent that up. He didn't want to do the whole thing and find out that's not exactly how we wanted things done. So we had quite a discussion, and he has since, I think it was just either last night or this morning, sent up a finalized draft of the maps that are on the website or the email account. So if you were to sign into the cemetery's email, you can see it there. Um, and it looks pretty good. He does now have all the lots are numbered with the proper
Ooh,
numbers.
ooh, yay.
Um, they have the distances from the baseline to where they are. He did put in the width of the roads for, they changed. They actually changed quite a bit, which is not surprising of what you see there. Um, doesn't exactly match what the map said it was supposed to be, which we knew that, which is why we were doing all this.
Right.
And even some of the lots, the depths and all that were different, which, we kind of knew, or I kind of knew that too, just from, laying stuff out that things didn't quite match. So we now have more of an accurate representation of exactly what's there. He broke it down, the new draft has, the cover page that shows everything. There's one page that just shows the overall view of the cemetery. Then it goes into the south section, a full map of the south section with all the lots and all the information on it, including, locations of all the headstones and, apparent graves as he went by the gravestones. Um, which is kind of good representation to just kind of quickly look, because our map just has a square box. Well, now you have the square box with, some information in it. Um, then it's broken down into the south section into 4 sections. So when you look at it, it's a much bigger print, with match lines. So if you were to print out 4 separate ones of those maps, you can match them up to make a big map. And it has that with all the lot boundaries in them, and then he did the same thing without the lot boundaries, which really, I don't see what that accomplishes, but he did it that way. Um, we did talk about how we can go ahead and add stuff to these maps, and they are drawn on a Corel Draw program, which he well, when he sends them, he'll send the whole thing in Corel also. And all it would mean is that, we could then purchase a Corel Draw program, and then we'd be able to go in and add anything that we wanted directly to the map. So we could put names on the lots. We could, if we wanted to, we could probably, and there's a way that you can do it also, that you can, it'd be like a drop down menu almost, where you could click on the lot and then down and give you a drop down menu. You can put all the names of everybody that's buried in that lot. So it's a way of having the record right there on the map, at least the electronic map. So I thought that was a pretty good idea, that way we could manipulate the maps in the future as we sell them, put names on them. And even like the sections of the front, the old section, then he numbered every headstone, but he didn't put names on them. And of course, there was no real lots, numbered, because we didn't have anything for that. So using that same program, we could go in then and put names on all those headstones, or we could simply do a corresponding file where headstone number 1, this name, headstone number 2, this name. We could do that on anything, Word document, whatever, and be able to print that out. So, I think,
I want to
yeah.
suggest that we always keep the initial map so that we always have something to fall back on if we screw up
Oh,
on
yeah.
something.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think what we do is we keep those initially and then make a copy of it, a file, and make that the working copy. Um, and we still have our paper maps here that, that I use as the master to write on and stuff. So, but this way, yeah, we'd have the original maps. That's exactly how he made them, and then we can make a copy of those and manipulate them for ourselves for our use.
That sounds good.
Yeah,
So
so
do
I
I
think
understand that he has both the width and the depth of lots?
for the most part, some of them change quite a bit, the depth especially. So he has the depths in some places, but not on every one of them.
Okay.
And what I may ask him to do, it's a little more work, but the lots that are that vary, if he could put the depth on those, because he has it measured, it's all in the information, so he can just print those depths out just so we have an idea. Because if you look at them again over time, when whoever happened to lay out those lots and put them there, whether they were done summertime, wintertime, or whatever, sometimes the back part where the lots butt against each other don't line up. They change as you go along. And, what he did was he mapped exactly what was there, not what was supposed to be on the map, which is what we needed. So,
Yeah.
and I can just ask him if he could add those where they change to just put in the depth that he has. If they all look the same, well, that's one thing. You can just kind of go along, but wherever there's a change, maybe just add that depth so we have that idea.
But he does have the breadth of all the lots too.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. The width, like if you measure from the line, the reference point line, he has all those distances for every lot going down. Yep.
Oh, good. That's
Yeah.
great.
So
What's
that's the really important one that we need for laying them out, or figuring out where lots are. So yeah, we got what we were, I think we got what we were looking for in that aspect. And on those lots, he also put in, like I said, even the lots that were unknown, where he did the ground penetrating radar, he put, and the difference is, like where there's a headstone, he drew a little square indicating, a body. In the unknown ones, it's a rectangle with an X through it. So those are the ones that he did with his ground penetrating radar and put them onto there, so we can, by looking at this map, now say, oh, okay, this lot, it was an 8-plot lot, but there's only four burials in it. We could use potentially the other half of that lot, which is what we were talking about last meeting, is, are there any of those lots that we could potentially use for sales? And I
Right.
think just looking at it quickly, I think there may be some. So that'd be good. I would double check just for our own, well-being, just to, whether probe or whatever, because most of them he did go back and do the full depth of them. There was a couple I wasn't sure, but he must have actually, because he did it on most of them. So I would just, it's trust but verify, just to make sure before you go sell it to somebody, and you get at the point where you're going to do a burial and you're digging a lot and find out, whoops, sorry, somebody else is already here. We don't want that.
No, we don't want that.
No.
No, but I think for the most part, I think what he's going to be delivering us is what we had asked for, and will be very helpful for us, especially if we can go in there and, manipulate the data to the point that we can add names and things like that in there. That would be very good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's just waiting on me to get back. I was just really looking at him in depth this afternoon to see what he had done, and I think they look pretty good. And if you guys want, in the future, if near future, if you want to just go in and open up that attachment and look at it and see what you guys think too. But I think it's pretty good, and he would be sending us both printed maps, and then, the PDF files for the maps themselves, and an actual Corel file for that, so we could then manipulate them from that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I have to say, I'm glad there's a most recent version from him with lot numbers, because what I looked at didn't have any lot numbers.
Right. Originally,
oh my
it had no lot numbers. It had no distances. It didn't have anything. It's like, so this is, it's pretty. It shows it where everything actually is, but we have no idea still, because it's not a map. It's just basically a drawing of what's there. So, yeah, he fully understood that, when I pointed it out. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, so it like I said, his first draft, he just did like road 1 just to make sure, is this what you're wanting me to do? And when I said, yeah, that's it, he went back and did the whole thing. So before I call him and say, yeah, look, it's good. It would be nice if you guys take a look at it. So if you want to take a look at it, within the next week, and then just shoot me an email or text saying, yeah, I think it looks good. Or if you have any questions, let me know, and then I can forward them to him and we can get that straightened out.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Okay. All right. Moving on then, the cremation burial worksheet and fee schedule. Well, the worksheet, did you guys, I emailed that to you both.
I thought it
Did you
looked
get
great.
a chance to look at it?
Yeah, I did. I thought it
Yeah.
looked great.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got it pulled up here. Yeah, that's great.
I think I incorporated all our changes that and suggestions that you guys made and actually added a few more, and then the last page is just the an 8 plot lot drawing
Mhm.
with if your lot is smaller, simply use the appropriate number of spaces for your lot. See enough.
Yeah, it looks really helpful, Walter. Thank you so much for
This is
doing
great.
Yeah.
It really, and it gives the family a way to think about what's going to happen too, which is
Yeah, and
good.
I mean, it's helpful for me to even sit there and go through, well, what do we need to know? Because
Yeah,
again, when you're working with a funeral director, they do this all the time. They pretty much have all the information. But as the trend is being more towards people doing things themselves. I have had that before, but many times it was, we're just coming up. It's the two of us driving up from Virginia, and that's all that's going to be there.
yep.
So you prepare the grave, you give them the time that they need to do what they need to do, and they leave and you finish up. But that last one that had just had so many variables that that was the the incident that really made me say, we got to do something about this. And this
Yeah.
will help anybody in the future too.
Yeah.
So, and like I say, it gives the family things to think about that they need to think about if they're going to do it themselves to make
Exactly.
everybody
It just
else's life
makes
easier.
Yeah.
yeah,
We're gonna need to think about doing one for the natural green burials. Yeah.
Yes.
that
Yeah.
is next.
I think we can kind of go with this one, but there'll be some more things involved just as reminders of, type of,
Yeah.
urn and or container and all that.
Well, we're at it. We need to also do for full person burials, right?
I sort of feel like the more the merrier in terms
Yeah,
of um how, this is how we hope you will work with us.
Mm.
right. Sure. I think that'd be a good idea. So what we should do for the next meeting, if you guys can come up with some ideas, especially for the green burials, natural burials, Dina, I know that's more your wheelhouse, and you do end of life planning with people, so I'm sure you have some really good ideas and suggestions for that. So, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, so I'll come to the next meeting with a draft
yeah,
for green burial information sheet for our
and we
customer.
can do it. And we could kind of pull off of this one for the cremational burial in the natural.
Yeah, I think so. I
natural
think I'll use this as a sort of a guideline because a lot of
Okay,
the information is the same.
right.
So we're just going to do drafts though while Walter's away, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. So the next meeting, I have to see if I'm going to be here, but I could still probably do it by Zoom. If you want to, we'll discuss that when we get to the end of if we're going to have one next
Yeah,
month
we'll
or not.
decide whether we're going to meet or not meet.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So that's good. We'll keep this as a final then. That a copy of this is on the hard drive. I started organizing that the other day too because I just had, everything or a lot of stuff under one heading. I'm like, all right, I've got all the agendas going back for, God, when I started doing this stuff. So, every agenda for every meeting is there. what I really should probably do someday, Susan, with you is sit down. I've got a lot of the ones from before, I think, of the actual minutes that were hopefully that were approved. Um, but just to make sure I get a copy of all the ones that you have that are, approved and final draft,
Right.
be able to take and put in a file on this hard drive too. So just so
Yeah.
we have a copy of them ourselves.
And have a paper file too.
Yes, which is something I don't have. I have a lot of papers around here, that at the meeting I'll write scribbled notes on mine and stuff of what I need to do, but we really should have a paper copy of them.
We
And
should. And I've
we
been.
don't have that much, as you were talking at the meeting today, record retentions. I think we have, even enough space in the one file drawer that we could have, as many of our minutes and all that in there in paper form, that would be fine. So
Yeah.
although the town clerk does have copies of them also, so if we ran into problems, but it's also nice to have them to be able to look back. I mean, it's amazing sometimes in different organizations I've been, I'll start looking back at minutes of meetings from a couple of years ago or even 6 months ago and go, yeah, that was a big issue then. Did it ever get straightened out or not? Sometimes it isn't. It's forgotten about because something else comes up and you
Yeah.
never go back and deal with other things. So it's always nice to go back and look at them and be able to read what was done and
It is.
get
It
an
is.
idea.
And it's, as I was saying at the meeting, it's important to keep paper copies because technology changes so rapidly and things get outdated and paper does
Yep.
get outdated.
Yep.
Yeah.
And things can happen to electronic storage and all that too. So
Yep.
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 Okay. Very good. All right. Next is the CPA grant application. You did send that out just recently. I was reading through it now, and some of it seemed like, now was that last year's copy that you kind of had crossed some things out? So it was just the information, or was that the actual copy that's going to go in for this year?
I sent you, if I did the right thing, I sent you what I thought was going to be the 25 grant application.
Okay, because it looked like some stuff was like there was things that were crossed out and
Oh, then that wasn't what I should have sent you.
okay, because I was reading it and it's like some of it doesn't seem. Although some of it was right, like the information, the money amounts and all that were right, but it just, at least on the copy, the way it opened up for me, it looked like some stuff was either typed over something else or crossed out. So
No, no. Well, I'm going to have to check that I sent you what I needed then to send you. Do you want to share it?
I could do that. I'd have to download it from the
I could say,
email. Yeah, if I could. Let's see, we figured out how to have you be the host last time and share, didn't we?
yeah.
And how did we do that?
Well, do you have a share thing at the bottom? Because as a host, you should. You should
Yeah,
have a share
I do
option.
have a share. Yeah, share.
I pulled up what you sent here,
Okay.
on my screen.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I found the email you sent with the draft.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does it look like it's the newest version?
FY 2025 application for community preservation funding. There was a line on the second page. Excuse me, about seeing Appendix A for additional information about the project.
Yep.
And yeah, it looks like this year's.
Okay. I'm gonna pull it up here.
Right before the meeting, I sent you with all the appendices.
Yes, and I got the appendices open in another window. It's 6 pages of everything.
Yeah, it's long, and I would be happy.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't see the most recent one. Okay. Sorry.
That's okay.
Full description of the project. Okay.
The thing that I know is wrong is the percentage.
Yep. And that should be 21.7%, I believe.
Thank you, Walter. I figured it had to be closer. I was thinking today as I was making supper for the cats, it must be closer to 25%. 21.7.
7.
Thank you so much for doing that. I have totally forgotten how to calculate those things.
Well, the easiest way, the way I did it is you take the total, divide it by 100, that's 1%. And then you take the amount that you want to figure out how much of a percentage it is, divide it by the amount that's 1%, and that'll tell you how many percent it is.
Oh, neat. I was just thinking in terms of what 10% is and what 5% is, but yeah, way to do it. And anyway, I screwed up. So I'm glad you did it right.
That's just attachment F.
So I don't know what is overkill in terms of too much information, but I always figure if you already know it, you don't have to read the repeat.
Right.
Yeah, then they don't have to ask for it later.
Yeah.
And if it's easy to give them.
I'm what I was seeing on this one anyways, on page 2, under description of the project, it's still in red. It said 22 headstones, see appendix A for additional information about, it's supposed to be the project. It says then project, but right under that box, it was like all blacked out. That's what I was seeing on my copy.
Geez, there's nothing blacked out on mine.
Maybe it's the way my computer
Looks
opened
like, no, it does look like it's blacked out, but it's like a whole bunch of lines got sort of squished
it.
together.
Bunched together. Yeah, that's what it could be.
And
So
it may
where
just be,
exactly? I'm looking at mine.
so after
Two.
under the box that where it says see appendix A for additional information in red.
Which is describe the project
Yeah.
on page
Right.
2, the first box.
Oh, okay.
The second box for goals, there's this lines of text that are on top of each other.
Okay, well, I can deal with that. All right.
And it may just be the way it transmitted.
Geez, I don't see it on mine. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, that's probably why. It's just the way it transmitted when it was attached, maybe.
So under describe the project, I just have 3 lines plus the red.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's in the box, but
under the box, before it says to and goals, there's an artifact of some sort.
Oh.
I don't think it's problematical.
no, and if it's on yours when you print it out, it shouldn't be there, I guess so.
Okay, well, I'll double check that. I know in the past I've had problems with the fact that they don't give you much space.
No, they do
No, they
not.
don't. They're kind of stingy.
Yeah.
It's like they don't really want us to describe what our goals are.
Well,
Okay.
that's
And-
what I described the project. That's why I'd used Appendix A.
Right. And just to clarify too,
Yeah.
for the funds,
Yep. Are you back?
we're requesting 9,000 and there's 2,500 in other funds. That was the actual, 1,000 from the cemetery commission, 1,000 from, what is that, the Friends?
Yeah.
It's kind of on this one again, it jumbled everything together.
Okay.
And then 500 from historic commission.
Okay.
Yeah, because we had voted to use up to 2,000. Okay, but yeah,
Right.
we got the other money.
Right.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that wasn't
I
something
have the
transposed from
same
last year.
jumble. I have the same jumble that you have.
Okay. So tell me again where the jumble is.
So on this time, on section 7, other funding, when you go into the box, it says cemetery commission and then something friends and then historical commission.
Right.
That middle line, just under organization, it looks like there's something
Yeah,
word.
the second box that was probably, I don't know if it's historical friends of the historical commission or something like that.
Yeah. You know what happened? I tried to put more and it wouldn't take it. So then it wrote from friends, but it must still have stayed. Interesting.
Yeah, my guess is that's
If you
like a
sometimes on those, if you make the font smaller, it will fit. But if you make it too small, you can't read it, of course. So
Yeah, I couldn't make I couldn't make the boxes any larger.
yeah,
I tried. Okay, so let me just tell you what I'm doing there. I mean, the Friends are basically non-existent now, but they gave
right,
money to use for historical causes and purposes. So I'm
right.
saying that we're taking $1,000, and I don't know whether it is really is whether we've already spent their money or not, but that's what I'm saying. So that's where the 1,000, the second
Okay.
is. So it's supposed to
Uh,
be, they're both from us. It just one is from our funds and the other is from what the Friends gave us. Does that make sense?
right. Yes. Yeah. 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 It makes sense. Yep. And
Okay.
I think, didn't they give us 3,000, was it?
Yes, and I think they did, and I think you may have put some of it into the ground penetrating radar work. Did you?
Right. Yeah, I'll have to go back and look at that. And that was one of my concerns as I was reading this is like, I gotta go back and check and see how much we actually are using. I think we were using some of that. So yes. Yeah. But if not, it's still, like I say, we voted up to 2,000 from our funds. So it is our funds still, whether it comes with whatever one it comes out of, it's still our funds. So
Right.
yep. Okay. Very
Okay,
good.
so I will double check. I'll print a copy off and see what happens and see what I can do to fix it.
Okay. And it may print fine, but that was the only thing that I was looking at that. And then there was a question on cost of the workshop.
Yeah.
In 10, maintenance, you did
Yeah.
cemetery groundskeepers, cemetery commission members, volunteers trained in a workshop. They can continue the cleaning project, a portion of this grant when they have received proper training in a workshop led by Historic Gravestone Services. Um, yeah, I don't know what that would cost. I mean, we did it. We tried doing it a couple times and
Yeah.
nobody showed up.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. I wouldn't even really want to try to do a big workshop unless, we had commitment from people to do
some
it.
sort of group of people saying we really want to do this.
Right. She
And
may
then
do a very informal one for us for 4 or 5 people. We can
Yeah.
ask her that and see.
Okay. Well, do you want me to leave that out?
You can just say that, the cemetery groundskeeper and cemetery commission, members who have been trained in the proper
Okay.
cleaning procedures, because the cleaning procedures, just the cleaning, that's easy enough to show somebody how to do. I can easily teach Carl how to do that and show you guys how to do it. If we
Okay.
have anybody else that wants to learn, that part is pretty easy. When you actually go to start, standing up the headstones and
No,
certain ones, that's
no.
still not that hard to do. She really showed us how that was done, and we have all the equipment to do that because I purchased it because Susan was doing a lot of the stones in the old section, the front section, some of the smaller footstones and all. She probably did, I don't know, 80 or 100 stones at one point. So, we have all the equipment to do that. We have the chemicals to clean. I have the spray bottles. We have the brushes. We have everything to do the work. So you could leave it in there that, the groundskeeper and cemetery commission members and any interested volunteers, will continue doing the cleaning portion.
Okay.
Because there was some that she's already done, like in the first project. I'm looking at them going, yeah, they could stand a little bit of a cleaning. So it's something that we can work on this summer.
Mm.
So you can even put in that there are some of the members that are trained, others will be showed how to do it. And if there's enough interest, we may hold a class in minor repair and cleaning. And that would be, at this point, it would be funded from our cash reserves, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so what I've written now is cemetery groundskeeper, cemetery commission members, and any interested volunteers who have been trained in the proper procedures can continue the work of cleaning. If
Yep.
there's interest, we might hold a class in cleaning. Did you mention something beside cleaning?
Well, it's minor repairs. So like, resetting leaning headstones and things like that. You know, so we're having tomorrow do the stuff that's out of our scope of being able to do.
Right.
But some of the smaller headstones that are just leaning or falling over, you know, that's a fairly simple thing to do where you dig it out bigger than what it is, you set it to the right depth, you level it, and then you compact dirt around it up to the certain point, and so it's really fairly common sense. You can't just go and lean on the stone and push it back up in the right position. You got to dig it out first so you don't break it. So, but
So
it's fairly simple.
okay, so I've that sentence that says if there's enough interest, we might hold a class in cleaning and minor repairs like resetting leaning headstones.
Right.
Okay.
You can even say class as has been done in the past.
Okay.
So,
Okay. So do you think, do we need a special maintenance budget down there?
no, I mean the any maintenance. Well, I don't know. I mean, we haven't. We have not, well, we still have a bit of the year left, but we haven't spent much out of our regular operating budget. So that usually any kind of maintenance comes out of that operating budget. If we see that we're starting to get where we're using that budget up by the end of the year, then we could probably go to FinCom at the next budget meeting and say, hey, can we get a separate line item for some maintenance? Because we want to keep this stuff going. And they may just say, well, how much more do you need? And just add it to the other
Right.
account. I don't know.
So will I
But
just say cemetery funds using regular maintenance funds?
yeah, it's
Okay.
fine.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about putting in a maintenance budget.
No. Because basically we even said that the reason we're having her do this is to deal with the stones that were beyond our ability to do.
Yep.
I'm sure Carl would be interested in learning how to do some of that stuff too.
Sure. Good. Okay, so I don't know if you want to worry about the changes that I made in attachment A, and C is pretty much the same. That just to bring it up to date.
Okay.
And if you want to look at attachment A, and you can let me know whether it changes you want to make. But
No, I think I looked at that.
okay.
Yeah, I mean you're pretty much taking what was done last year or the initial project and say, oh, we did that much last year. We're doing this, or last time we're doing that, the balance of it in this
Yeah.
phase. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine. I mean, that's basically what we're doing.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Yeah.
Nothing changes with it. She still works under the same guidelines and all that. It's just,
Yeah.
21 or 22 different more stones. Hopefully, I would like to make sure and see how much she actually finished from last time, because we haven't received the bill for the second half of the work she did on the first round. So if
Yeah.
not, she's got to finish that up and then start the next one.
Yeah. It would be ideal if we could say which ones were done, but
Yes,
we can.
I will try contacting her again and say, can you give me a list of the ones you did in the second half of phase one?
That would
What's left?
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, I probably should have thought about that and done that before now, but it just wasn't on my on my thought process.
Well, there's been plenty on the agenda, Walter.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right. So, refresh my memory when this grant application, the physical application, is due.
It is due February 6th,
Okay.
and I think you should be sure to sign it before you depart.
Yes. Yes. That's why I'm asking.
Yes, good.
Oh, I'm departing after that. I'm departing after that date anyway. So,
Okay, well, that's good. But unless people particularly want to spend more time on this, I'm ready to send it in.
yeah, I'm fine. Yeah.
seems fine to me.
So whenever you have it ready for signing, just let me know.
Okay. And
You
what
can-
I'll do, I mean, it seems as though those blacked out spaces that you found were both blocks that I tried to add more than I could fit.
Okay.
Somehow it stayed.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So I'll see what I can do. Maybe if I sort of delete the whole thing.
I wouldn't worry about it too much. I mean,
Okay.
they don't add any content.
Sorry?
They just,
It's not blocking out any
it's not
important content. It's just
interfering
something that
with
they're.
anyone's understanding of what we're saying.
Okay, but still it looks messy. I like it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, what you could probably do is go to the end of the last line that you've typed in and just try hitting delete and see if it deletes anything. If it pushed stuff down in the box that's just kind of jumbled up there,
Yeah,
it may do something, it may not. I don't know.
that's a good suggestion, Walter. I'll try that first.
That makes sense.
I mean, these pre-done forms where they give you a specific size of a box that you can't expand or it won't automatically expand is kind of frustrating. I love the forms that give you, what's your zip code, and they give you a line or a box that you could write a story in, and then it says give a full description of your project, and they give you like room enough for 3 words. It's like,
Yeah,
who designed this?
yeah,
Yeah.
You can tell what they actually want to read about,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so just let me know, either give me a call or text or email when it's ready, and I'll contact you.
Your
We'll set up how I can just come over and sign it.
your phone takes texts, does it?
Yeah, my cell phone, yeah.
Oh, good. I've
Yeah,
never.
the number that you have for me, the 687-415, that's my cell phone.
Yeah.
That's the only number I have now. So
Okay. Well, I'm hoping to finish it up in the next few days if I can.
okay, sounds good.
Before I get stuck on another project.
All right. Very good. All right. Is there any other unfinished business that I didn't put on the agenda that anybody has?
I've got nothing.
No.
Okay. So under new business, I have shared vacation, transfer of maps and hard drive for possible sales or burials. So in February 17th, it's a Monday. I'm taking off for vacation for 3 weeks. I'll be back on March 13th, I believe it is, 12th or 13th. So I will be gone those 3 weeks. So what I figured is I should get the hard drive, the maps, and so any of the forms are on the hard drive. You can easily print them out, and I'll get all the maps that we have for all the cemeteries for now to you guys, so you can have them in case somebody does approach and want something done. God forbid something happens and somebody needs to do a burial while I'm gone. We have some of the guidelines, but I'm only a phone call away or an email or whatever
Right.
way. If necessary, we could even make an impromptu Zoom meeting and just meet all together just to discuss, the steps and what would have to be done there. Lots of times if it's a funeral home that's dealt with us before, they'll probably just call my cell phone anyway. So I might be the first one to know, and then I'll be calling you guys, but,
Okay.
yeah, we should be able to work it out.
I think you're dealing with frozen ground, right?
What was that?
We would be dealing with frozen ground.
Yeah, that is the possibility. So in that case, we might not be running into burials yet, or they may be calling saying, are you able to do a burial? It really
So
depends. I mean, this winter has been such that, just a couple days ago it was all mud and there was no frost, and now it's frozen again. Um, you know, Hard to tell what's going to happen in the future. But
what's your experience in the past, Walter, with winter burials?
sometimes we've put them off. If there's only like 3 or 4 inches of frost, what Clark's has been able to do is they take a saw and they'll cut the frozen ground and then just use the backhoe or the excavator to break through. The only thing sometimes what we've had the problem is near the edge it'll break out more than where you want it to. So
Right.
they usually have to put extra planking or something around the hole, and just make it a little more treacherous.
Yeah.
But usually, if it's more than 3 or 4 inches, they really don't like doing it because it's hard to backfill and all that too, because the
Right.
dirt gets frozen if they leave it open for very long, and it makes it kind of tough.
Yeah.
Um, on the fact of that, because I never really did get back to you guys on it, but the lot that we were talking about in the natural burial area has been staked out, so and covered with hay. So not only is it covered, but the corners of the lot are marked out with stakes.
Oh, thank,
So in case we had snow or anything, there wouldn't be a problem with measuring it out. It's all located.
Okay.
thank you, Walter.
You're
Deeply
welcome.
appreciated. I've been concerned about this, so I'm glad
Yeah,
that
and I should have emailed back right after I did it, but
I
Susan
figured
had
it
picked up.
was done. And the thing about the hay, I was like, oh, I really should have thought about this sooner, because it's not, it's a really easy thing to do.
Yeah.
Um, and it does make a difference. So
Oh yeah, yeah. So there's 2 bales of hay piled up on there, so it's piled pretty deep. I spread it out and fluffed it all up and covered
great.
around past the edges, so it helped protect the area a little bit more. And like I said, figured in case we had snow or anything, trying to measure it all out, it was a lot easier to do it then because there was absolutely no snow, there was no frost at the time. It was really easy to go and put the corner stakes in and cover it up with hay. So
That's
that's
really
all
good.
done.
Oh, thanks for doing that.
Yeah, no problem. So who would want to take the maps? Well, I suppose Susan, if you don't mind, when I meet to sign the contract, I can just drop all the maps and the hard drive off to you.
Okay. And
That makes sense.
anything that needs to be done, I'm going to be contacting Dina on. So
Oh yeah, yeah, you work together anyway, so yeah.
Yeah,
we might text you.
I'm
Yep.
in.
That's fine. I like I said, I'm a resource. I'm available, whether it's texting, giving me a call, or whatever. Um, the only caveat to that is I will be 5 hours behind in the time zone. For part of the season. Then when we go to daylight savings time, I'll be 6 hours behind. So, if you were to call me what was noontime here, after we go to the daylight savings time, it would be 6 o'clock in the morning for me.
No,
So
no.
just just
Would call
just to
you
keep that in mind.
or evening.
What was that?
We would call, and we probably ought to call around meeting time. Call you.
Yeah, that would be fine. Yep.
That would be reasonable.
Yeah.
So you're heading around the curve in the earth then.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Back over to the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
Oh, good.
Yeah. 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 Gonna be staying with some friends over there. It's gonna be a totally different experience. So
Oh, wow.
yeah.
I'm glad you're getting to go though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it should be good.
Yeah. Be a nice break for you, Walter.
Yeah, I could use it. Let's see. Is there any other new business or items not anticipated 48
I
hours
don't
prior
have
to this
any. I
meeting?
think it'll be fun. This is nuts, but part of me is it's not that I'm hoping something happens, it's that, it would
Good to
be
get the
fun,
experience.
Susan, to figure this out together,
Right. Yeah.
trying to say.
And what I probably should do is, even if nothing happens while I'm gone, and hopefully nothing does, but you know, afterwards, the next time we have something, I'll definitely let you guys know. And if you want to, help come along and just kind of experience what goes on and all that,
Yeah, I think that would
from a different perspective than what you're usually doing, Dina. As you found out, I mean, we had the one where we had a burial and Dina was doing the, presiding over it, and I had done the other part of it, and that was it was a last minute buy it. This is what we want. There's a lot of preparation because of the overgrowth of the forsythia bush on the lot, and so it was there's a lot to think about sometimes. Then sometimes it's pretty straightforward, and other times it's not quite so.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, Walter, to let us come along and watch.
Oh, absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
Well, we'll have a lively moment sometime.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Anything else anybody wants to cover? Keeping in mind it's a recorded session right now, so nothing personal, nothing that's not cemetery business yet. So next meeting, I'm just gonna see.
So the next meeting would be the week you leave.
Yes. Yeah, if we did the third Wednesday.
Yeah. Do we want to change the date so that you are still here?
We could do the second Wednesday if that's okay with everyone, which would be the 12th.
I have COA on the second.
Okay.
And I've got.
Well, it doesn't have to be a Wednesday. It can be another day if we want to do it. Or the 5th, but that's only that's 3 weeks away, I guess, or 2 weeks away.
I'm
nothing
on
going on that week, so I'm free any day that week.
some things are happening on the 5th.
3 weeks.
I don't remember what, but I'm happy other days other than Wednesdays.
Okay.
Should we?
You guys tell me what is open for you, because I can make mine open easy enough.
I am wide open the week of the 10th in the evenings.
Okay.
2 other than Wednesday.
All right. Would you rather do Tuesday or Thursday or what? Or Monday or
Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Good
Yeah.
to me.
Tuesday the 11th?
Yep.
Okay.
In my book.
I'm gonna write that one down because it is different.
And you will be home for the March meeting.
Yes. Yep. Okay. Very good. And if there's anything that comes up that you guys want to put on the agenda, just, send me an email or something, to the,
Okay.
Sounds good.
even send it to the Cemetery Commission's email. That way everybody sees it, but we can put it on. I mean, that goes in from now in the future, if something comes up, you think, hey, I'd really like to get this on the agenda for this meeting, let me know. I mean, our agendas have been pretty much the same lately because it's ongoing projects, and some things are just there for housekeeping stuff anyways. But especially anything new comes up.
I did send you the grant thing, so that got on the agenda. Thank you very much.
Yep. Yeah. All right. Okay. Anything else?
Nothing from me.
I don't think so. Although Dina, if you would stay on for a couple minutes.
Yeah, happy to.
All right. So I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make that motion.
All right. I'll second it. I don't think there's any discussion on that, so we'll do the roll call vote. Susan?
Aye.
Dina?
Aye.
I vote aye also. So that concludes our meeting I have 7:08.
Me too.
Okay, and let's
So don't
stop the recording. Hold on.
Not going any.
something. You're welcome to stay.